Tonight, we begin with a political firestorm. The People's National Party's youth organization is demanding an immediate apology from Young Jamaica and the Jamaica Labour Party's Communications Task Force over claims made about opposition leader Mark Golding's 2024 statutory declarations. The PNPYO says the allegations were reckless, baseless, and misleading, pointing to official publication of Golding's certified declarations in the Jamaica Gazette days before the questions were raised. Then a Jamaican-born attorney, community advocate, and mother of four is seeking to take her message of faith, family, and service to the United States Congress. Kesia Early has officially entered the race for Florida's newly redrawn 22nd Congressional District, promising to put people before politics. And later, in the digital age, a single social media post can build or destroy a business overnight. But what happens when online reviews or influencer content presents a false or misleading narrative? We examine the growing tension between businesses and content creators in the court of public opinion. I'm Tyrone Reed, sitting in for Jody and Quarry, and this is Lead Story. A political dispute is escalating between the People's National Party Youth Organization and Young Jamaica. The PNPYO calling for an immediate apology following a June 4 statement from Young Jamaica that questioned opposition leader Mark Golding's 2024 statutory declaration. In its response, the youth arm of the PNP argues that the certification of Mr. Golding's declarations by the Integrity Commission had already been published in the Jamaica Gazette on May 26, more than a week before the statement was released. The organization says the facts were readily available, and it accuses its political opponents of spreading misinformation for political gain. The dispute has now reignited questions about fact-checking political communications and the responsibility of parties and their affiliated groups to verify information before making public allegations. PNPYO General Secretary Peter Gay Ferguson joins us now. Good evening, Ms. Ferguson. Welcome to Lead Story.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Not too shabby for a middle-aged guy. Good to have you with us. Talk to us about Peter Gay. What is unfolding here? What really took place? It was gazetted, and it appears your political counterparts weren't aware of that fact?
Well, we can only ask one of two questions. Is it a matter of they really did not know? Or is it that this is really a deliberate attempt from Young Jamaica, and I must add the Jamaica Labour Party, to really tarnish the reputation of the opposition leader Mark Golding? I can say it is an asinine move by Young Jamaica. I would love to expect better of them, as young people, young leaders, we're the future of Jamaica. We are supposed to be operating above the fray, and I'm not seeing that from Young Jamaica. And so I'm not sure why it has taken them this long to issue a public apology on the matter, which I think would be the correct move and, the more decent move to make. But one can only assume that they'll either do it in due time, or otherwise I'm sure it will not come as a surprise if they don't issue an apology.
Have you sought to personally reach across the aisle to any of your opposite numbers to say, look, you got this one wrong? The best thing to do is apologize. Have you spoken to them outside of the glare of the public eye?
I have, and I was told that not every release that is issued by Young Jamaica is supported by all members. That's what I was told when I reached out.
And will that suffice, Ms. Ferguson? Are you accepting that?
No, absolutely, because the statement was made. It's a very reckless statement, and the allegations are baseless. And while I would love to believe that it's an error on their part, which is also a very juvenile and it will be a political neophyte move. But what I can say is that the fact that the Jamaica Labour Party, right, is a part of Young Jamaica, meaning they're the mother party for Young Jamaica, and they're in government. They would have connection to ministers and ministries and people who could direct them in the right path. Now, one would know, if anything, before you issue a release, before you go on a public platform, before you make a statement, right? You would want to do your due diligence. You would want to do the necessary research. You would want to consult. You would want to ensure that whatever it is that you're putting out in the public can stand up to scrutiny. The facts are there. The Jamaica Gazette is something that is a part of the government. So the relevant ministries, they could have reached out to the relevant minister, whether it be the Minister of Finance or the Minister of Information, whichever ministry could have given them the necessary information. The fact that this has been released over a week now, and you're just coming to put out this statement, it really is a distraction, if you want to call it for what it is. We have so many issues happening in the country. Young Jamaica and G2K have been largely missing from policy discussion and issues of national importance affecting Jamaica's youth, and it's really disappointing that they continue to allow their party to use them as a sort of political football and to engage in this sort of political tomfoolery, while they could be better using their voices to advocate on behalf of Jamaica's youth, to push policies that could move us forward. Youth are interested in home ownership. Youth want to be able to get a good education. The education system is deteriorating in the public sector. The health system, corruption. There's so many things. There are about 8 or 9 or 10 of them over there who are still, we're not sure if they're certified yet, and we've not heard anything about that. We've not heard them come forth. What about asking your leader, when is your matter going to be resolved? Come with some transparency. I'm not seeing that. And,
I'm actually happy you touched on that point, because it's a question I put to the Young Jamaica representative, I think it was, who appeared on the program last week, and I asked whether or not it came across as a bit hypocritical in his mind that they are seeking to comment on this issue when their party leader, his statutory declarations yet to be certified, though the matter is in court. Was this one that they should have set out? I would love to hear you on that. Do you think until that matter is settled, this is something the JLP and its affiliates should not comment on? They don't have the capital to comment on it. Do you share that view?
I would say they don't have the capital to comment on it. That's not really the crux of the matter here, because two things can be true at the same time. Now, if they were holding their party leader and the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Dr. Andronis, to account, along with the other members who were not clear on, then I would say, yes, they can speak on the matter, because we've seen them. The track record has shown. But I think what this issue does is that it highlights the duplicitous nature of their approach. It highlights the hypocrisy. It shows you that they aren't serious about transparency and accountability. They aren't serious about issues surrounding corruption, good governance, because they're always silent. There's so many things that we can point to. The matter at UA, the matter at, we have so many things. The deplorable road conditions, the hurricane relief money. We still have almost 8 months after the passage of Hurricane Melissa. We still have people in Jamaica who their lives has not been restored to anything near normal, while the government sits on all that money.
But that isn't to suggest, though, Ms. Ferguson, that 8 months after the passage of a Category 5, that everything would be back to normality. That's not what you're suggesting.
I am not suggesting that everything would be back to normality. What I'm suggesting is that if this government, right, were to say that they're serious about the recovery effort, what they would be doing is ensuring that the systems and the measures are in place that can ensure that Jamaicans recover and get back on their feet in a quicker time. And what do I mean by this if we're going down that road? You don't wait until June 1 before you start planning for the hurricane season, do you? Do you think a country that is thinking about operating in a proactive way would do that? No, you don't. You would have measures in place. You'd have systems in place. Even after the passage of Hurricane Melissa, we do have institutions and systems that exist, right, where had they organized and mobilized those ministries and agencies and departments in the right way, right, we would have seen a better result. Right. Now, we wouldn't have people and schools where, children can't go to school, communities who need to be restored and all the necessary infrastructure. We wouldn't be having those
Let me see if I can bring you back on point to this issue of young Jamaica saying that the opposition leader needs to address this matter of his, what they were describing then as the non-certification of his 2024 declarations. You are confident that based on the fact that the date on the Gazette that the young Jamaica should have known that the certification was done. You're saying they should have known. You've called on them to apologize. I'm asking you here and now, if you would give them a time frame within which they need to apologize, and if they don't within that time frame, that would be something you consider to be unacceptable. What would that time frame look like?
The apology should have been issued already. The same swiftness in which they issued the release, it takes nothing to draft a release, seriously, to apologize or even to put out a video. I mean, just if you want to operate as a decent person within the political sphere, it takes nothing to take up your phone, record a video, or write a release, just saying that, we apologize and we'd like to recall the release that we issued about Mr. Golding's statutory declaration. It's the proper thing to do. It's the honest thing to do. And we're human beings, so there are times when people will falter, which it should not have happened. If you're managing your political communications, then something like that. Before
we run out of time, I'm being told we only have 30 seconds left. Ms. Peter Gay Ferguson, a young politician in practice here. She is really using up the time. Let me ask you this. If you've said that they should have apologized already, is there anything that the PMPYO is prepared to do to escalate this matter in the event that an apology is not forthcoming?
We will continue to pursue the matter. I'm hoping that they will, yield and do the proper thing. But I want to say before we go that we are proud to be led by a leader such as, Mark Golding, MP for South St. Andrew. We're happy to have him, a man of integrity. He continues to operate in that manner. And so he is a cut above the rest. And I hope that the Prime Minister can follow suit.
That was PMPYO General Secretary Peter Gay Ferguson. Ms. Ferguson, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. We appreciate the thoughts.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
Well, a Jamaican-born attorney who has built a reputation as a trial lawyer and community advocate is going to be on set with us as she's attempting to be elected to Congress. That's Casey Early. Yes, officially announced her candidacy for Florida's newly redrawn 22nd Congressional District. When we come back, we'll hear from her.
Don't just watch the action, be part of it. With Chris and Charles' Score Big Loan Promotion, upgrade your TV, plan that trip, or handle what matters most, fast and easy. And here's the best part. Every loan gives you a chance to win one of 3 58-inch smart 4K TVs. So while your favorite team scores on the field, you could be scoring big too. Promotion runs May 11 to July 20, 2026. Visit any branch or Chris and Charles for details. Conditions apply. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Score big this football season on and off the field.
What started with 25 teams is now down to 2. It's a final of the Popeyes Challenge Cup. Jamaica's newest and boldest football competition reaches a crescendo Tuesday, June 9 at the JWN Anthony Spalding Sports Complex. This David versus Goliath matchup pits 2023 JPL champions Mount Pleasant against a surging Malines United team on the hunt for big silverware. Kickoff is at 8 p.m. only on CVM TV. It's time for a champion to be crowned. Will David slay Goliath? It's Malines United versus Mount Pleasant in the final of the Popeyes Challenge Cup at the JWN Anthony Spaulding Sports Complex at 8 p.m.
Jamaica's unemployment rate has fallen to 3.3%, down from 13.2% in 2016. Our government's continued focus on job creation is delivering real results. We are building Jamaica. The time by the Office of the Prime Minister is...
Hey, what I want?
Hi, I am Candy Pang at
Watagwan.
Watagwan.
Datagwan pa.
Watagwan.
Watagwan. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m., 1:30 p.m., and 10 p.m. on CVM TV.
Datagwan pa Watagwan.
Welcome back. This is Lead Story. I'm Tyrone Reed. A Jamaican-born attorney who has built a reputation, as we told you before the break, as a trial lawyer, community advocate, and legal commentator, is now setting her sights on elected office. Casey Early has officially announced her candidacy for Florida's newly redrawn 22nd Congressional District. Running under the theme Faith, Family, Future, Early says her campaign will focus on restoring trust in government, addressing the cost of living, improving education, supporting public safety, expanding economic opportunity, and protecting constitutional rights. Quite a mouthful there. A former public defender and founder of her own law firm, Early says her years of advocacy for clients and communities have prepared her for public service at the national level. She enters the race at a time when many Americans are expressing frustration with political polarization and declining confidence in government institutions. Early says she is not running to represent a party, but to represent people. Casey Early, she joins us now. Top of the evening to you. Welcome to Lead Story.
Thanks for having me.
Made a case for us, quite a bit there. You have an expansive campaign, it appears. Make a case for us as to why should you be the next candidate?
Well, in Florida, you have three separate branches of government. You have the legislative branch, which makes the laws. The judicial branch, as a litigator, I interpret the law. And then, of course, you have the executive branch that enforces the law. So if you're running for a position in law, you have to understand the law. And I'm a litigator. I've tried over 100 trials to verdict, most of which have been dismissed or not guilty. I have that experience in interpreting the law. So this is just the next progression. And I'm a community servant as well. And slight correction, I am not Jamaican born. My father was born in Jamaica, St. Catherine, and Jamaican by descent, and I am getting my citizenship. So
we still claim you,
yeah,
right?
Claim me. Come on, claim me.
There are many Jamaicans who were born outside
That's
of
right.
Jamaica. One of the pressing issues, which I must ask you about, is immigration in the U.S. Your stance on that, and how would you approach immigration to benefit the people?
You know, immigration is definitely a hot button in Florida because of our proximity from Haiti and Jamaica and other nations. And I do believe that there should be order in how we process the immigration forms, but it can be done with decency, right? You don't have to rip apart the families in order to make sure anyone who enters the country goes through the proper channels. And right now what's happening is everyone is moving by emotion, and they fail to remember that America was built on immigrants. America was built on slavery. So instead of just making this blanket rule, kick everyone out until we figure this out, no. What we can do is have laws and policies in place, expedite these applications for immigration, and that way it can be done in a moral way instead of treating those who are immigrants like second-class citizens. So there's a way to do it.
A noted footballer, his name is Ian, right? Not certain if you are a fan of the beautiful game. He posted a video to social media recently, addressing the fact that a Somalian referee was denied entry into the U.S. He's supposed to be one of the referees in the greatest sporting spectacle on the planet, and he has been denied a visa. That's to the extent that the immigration issues is affecting people in America. What do you have to say to that? A referee who's supposed to be in the World Cup, it's a lifetime achievement for a referee.
Of course.
And he's having difficulties.
That's the Super Bowl of football, right? So it's unfortunate, but it's not uncommon. Unfortunately, not only are the immigration laws changing consistently, they're changing without the proper education in that field. For example, I'm a criminal defense attorney, and if my client gets arrested, he automatically has what's called an immigration hold. But then if that underlying criminal charge is dismissed, he still has that immigration hold and is subject to deportation. So I believe that those who are analyzing the laws, writing the laws, they don't see that the correlation between criminal allegations as well as the immigration implications that it provides. But again, we need someone with a thorough understanding of the law to change the law so that that won't happen.
And you will be advocating for the changes that are necessary in those laws.
Of course.
Help those who might not understand this redrawn 22nd Congressional District. What does that mean? Which areas in Florida would you represent?
Okay, so our current governor, Governor Ron DeSantis, recently redrew the district, and now my district covers 4 separate counties. So to put that in perspective, it's vast. So the state of Rhode Island, 5 times that, so it's over 5,500 square feet. So you're looking at Broward County, Palm Beach County, which is north of Broward, and Hendry County and Collier County, which is on the west side. So it covers so many districts and cities, and it was recently redrawn. Now the qualifying period ends on June 12th. From June 12th on to August, the races are started. We're going to know how many people are in our primary, how many Democrats and Republicans, and then when I win the primary, I go on in November for the general election. So this is definitely going to be a race that is not given to the swift, but the one that can endure to the end, and that's me.
All right, and when's the actual vote?
So early voting starts August 8th through the 16th, and then the actual primary election day is on August 18th. Now, once we choose a Democratic contender, then we go to the main election, which is in November. So we have a lot of work to do, and we're getting the word out. Now, the difference between myself and all the other opponents, I've always been in the community. So for the next 2 months, I'm not going to make a name for myself. I'm going to remind the community of who I am and why I'm running. So I truly believe that whenever someone runs for political office, you have to be a servant first. You have to be a community volunteer first, instead of just running for power. And we see that a lot, right? We see these political action committees throwing money behind a person because they want something in return. I know that votes win elections and not money alone, but it does take money to run an election. But what we need to start doing as voters, educate yourself on who the candidate is, and you can even educate yourself on who's donating. Because all of this is public information, and you have to ask yourself, why is someone utilizing millions of US dollars to run for an office that only pays thousands versus someone who doesn't raise as much but has a history of community service? So don't just vote blindly. Research. Google is there for a reason.
So you are a candidate on which ticket?
The Democratic ticket.
The Democratic
District
ticket?
22, yes.
All right, so you're a member of the Democratic Party.
That is correct.
This visit to Jamaica then, I'm certain it's part and parcel of your campaign strategy. Tell us, why are you here in Jamaica? And I'm sure it's not just for the sunshine.
It's actually not even for the political running. I actually have a nonprofit called Seeds of Manna, SEEDS of Manna. And for years, I've been collecting donations from my law firm and from supermarkets, non-perishable food in Florida. I ship them over, and then I pass them out personally until I can get my nonprofit finalized here, where I don't have to come and clear the barrels and decontainers. But this is what I do.
You are here to clear barrels?
Yeah, yes, I am. And I'm in the wharf. Let me tell you something.
Future Congresswoman.
Yes, I am.
That's impressive.
Let me tell you something. Too much is given, much is required.
Yes.
You have to Google me to see who I am at the core. I am a community servant. I'm here to serve. And when you give to the least of those, you did it unto God. So I am moved by compassion. I'm moved by empathy. I'm just a different type of politician. And it's unfortunate because oftentimes when you hear politician, it's negative. I'm a lawyer. It's negative. And I've changed that mindset because I'm a great lawyer. I'm a fierce litigator. Check my stats. But I'm fearless because God doesn't give me the spirit of fear, power, love, and a sound mind. So the same strategy and advocacy that I've done in court to fight for my clients' rights, because I practice one of the hardest areas of law, and that's criminal. So if I lose, my client's going to jail for life. And I don't try a case thinking I'm going to lose. And I'm not running this race thinking I'm going to lose. To be continued, I will be back as Congresswoman.
And if you are elected, you promise to return.
When I'm elected, I will be back.
You promise to return and give us an interview.
I come here every 2 months. I have a house here in Trelawney.
Yes.
I am Jamaican through and through. Although I wasn't born here, it's in my heart. My father, during the summers, he would bring us back here. I have 8 siblings all together. And he would teach us our culture. So if I don't have anything else, I am Jamaican. And this is the land that I love. This is the land that I want to increase. I grew up with a substandard education, and I became the first one in my entire generation to go to college, go to law school, have my own law firm for 10 years, a successful practice. And that's because education is key. And that is what my father instilled in me and my mother.
A word that seems to be reverberating throughout this entire conversation is faith.
Of course.
Seems very important to you.
It is. Okay, so my campaign slogan is faith, family, and future. I have a book. It's called Houses Built by Faith, and it's my memoir. It tells a story, and for those of you who are interested, you can Google my name and just put jail after it. 22 years ago, I was incarcerated. I was working 3 jobs when I was in college, giving away discounts, thinking it was no big deal. I got arrested, and then I was pregnant when I was incarcerated, and I basically surrendered my life back to Christ. And I got a promise when I was in my jail cell that if I rededicated my life back to Christ, I would become a lawyer. And that's really unheard of. Who goes to jail and then goes to law school and becomes a lawyer? I just didn't become a lawyer. I've been named top 10, top 20, top 40, top 100 lawyer. So I have zealously advocated for my clients, and I'm going to do the same thing for the constituents in District 22. And I can tell you something. Every one of my opponents can't light a fire to what I have done in my community. So I can't wait for our debates.
From jail back to Jesus to Congress.
Come on.
That's the journey.
From the jailhouse to God's house to the courthouse to the Congressional house. My life is built in houses.
Even more impressive than mine. But you mentioned going to jail. You want to talk about that a little?
Sure. And like I said, the title of my memoir is Houses Built by Faith, Jailhouse, God's House, Courthouse. And when I was incarcerated, I always wanted to be a lawyer, but not a criminal defense attorney, because I thought that people who were incarcerated were the bottom of the barrel, that they deserved to be there until I was there. So God really had to humble me, and it gave me the type of empathy that I needed to advocate for my clients. So when I was in jail, because like I said, I was giving away discounts at my place of employment, but that was considered embezzlement. And I was in solitary confinement 23 hours out of the day, wondering, could I ever be a lawyer? And if I can be a lawyer, could I move past this shame of being incarcerated, the mugshot? But after I rededicated my life back to Christ and God just truly took away the shame, I used my story to encourage others. So even on this campaign trail, politics is very nasty, it's negative, but if they try to bring up, oh, she was arrested before, yeah, it's in my book. I put it in there. Go get it. Best-selling author. Okay?
So if they go low,
I'm going higher. Shout out to Furious.
In your best Jamaican voice. Before we have to close, what's the one thing you love the most about Jamaica?
I love the people. Let me tell you, there's a difference in America versus here. In America, you are a Black American, you're a white American, you're titled, you're labeled, but here you're just a Jamaican, and we're all one people. And I love the vibe, the atmosphere, and I want to do more for my country. I want to instill knowledge. I don't want to just keep giving donations. I don't want to give them fish. I want to teach them how to fish, how to be self-sufficient, because if I can do it, they can do it as well. And I'm glad that I have such a big network of people working in the Jamaican diaspora. Matter of fact, shout out to Sean Contractor Edwards, who is our global Congressional volunteer ambassador for the Jamaican diaspora. He assist in bringing us together and spreading the word, not just about this political campaign, because it's not about me, it's about the people that I'm going to represent, but it's about our future.
We have to leave it there, and you promise to be back as
I
we
will
do
be
in Jamaica.
back as a congresswoman. You heard it here first.
That was Casey Early, and she has a funny bone, folks, we should tell you. Candidate for Florida's newly redrawn 22nd Congressional District. This is Lead Story. I'm Tyrone Reed. We'll be back right after these.
Make we do the right thing. Make we live good today for a better tomorrow. Talk it out. Don't fight it out. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
6:30.
For years, Jamaica has been operating at just about 50% of the blood donations needed to meet national demand. That means for every 2 persons who require blood, only 1 donation is available. And the truth is, many of us only think about donating when there's a tragedy. But hospitals need blood every single day. With a single donation, you can make a big difference. You are somebody's type.
Donating blood is easier than most people think. Once you are 16 years or older, with parental consent at 16, you can donate. 17 to 60, just walk in and register. Up to 65 if you're a regular donor. You will need to present a government-issued ID. If you weigh at least 110 pounds and you're in good health, you're likely eligible. Controlled high blood pressure? That's okay. Diabetic but not on insulin? That's okay too. Tattoos or piercings older than 6 months? You can donate. We do a quick check of your hemoglobin level. If it's 12.5 or above, you're good to go. You will also have a short conversation with one of our medical professionals just to ensure that donation is safe for you. The actual donation takes about 8 to 15 minutes. That's less time than taking a lunch break. Less time than scrolling your phone. Your body replaces the volume within 24 hours. Red blood cells take about 6 weeks. That's why you can donate every 3 months. We will help you to rehydrate before you leave. Just remember, eat before you come and drink plenty of fluids. Every donation can help up to 3 persons. They may never know your name, but they will live because you showed up. Because somewhere today, you are somebody's type.
When we give a little, we make a big difference. A mother after childbirth, a child with sickle cell disease, a patient undergoing surgery. Right now, donations are at 40 to 50% of what's needed, which means there is room for more of us. It's simple, it's safe, it doesn't take long. If you're able, consider giving. We'll be here to welcome you.
Welcome back. This is Lead Story. I'm Tyrone Reed. A single video, a single review, a single post. In today's digital economy, those things can shape public opinion faster than any traditional advertising campaign. Social media influencers have become powerful voices capable of driving traffic to businesses, boosting sales, and influencing consumer decisions. Well, at least that's what the experts tell us. But what happens when the information shared is inaccurate? What happens when a negative review goes viral before the full facts are known? And what responsibility do content creators have when their opinions can impact livelihoods? Business owners across the region have increasingly voiced concerns about social media reviews and influencer content that they say sometimes present an incomplete or misleading picture of their operations. At the same time, consumers argue that influencers provide a valuable service by sharing honest experiences and holding businesses accountable. The debate raises important questions about ethics, responsibility, fairness, and the power of digital communication. Social media influencer and radio host Ruben Hussey is back in the house with us, and content creator Corey Darby joins us on Zoom. Top of the evening to you, gentlemen. Welcome.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me again.
Let's begin with Corey Darby on Zoom. Corey Darby, I'm not sure if you saw the latest in this installment of influencers versus establishments. And of course, the establishment, the restaurant, took to social media after a review and basically tried to correct the record. Not certain if you've seen that one out of an establishment in Montego Bay, St. James. Have you seen it? And should this be the response from restaurants or any other entity that feel as if they have been let down by the facts that were shared, if they feel it to be inaccurate? Is this the way forward?
Hi, good evening. Yes, I am aware of it somewhat, not 100%, but I've seen a few of the videos. And to your question, should this be the response from the businesses? It's kind of a two-sided coin, because on the side of the business, you want to, protect your reputation. You want to make sure that your side is known and make sure that your PR is good or as best as you can put it. But on the other side, there is this kind of negative connotation to when businesses go back and forth on the media with persons, and it's not accepted. It's not liked by a lot of persons. It looks bad basically.
For who though?
It looks bad for the business because they say the customer is always right. They always hear that customer is always right.
But not the content creator. It doesn't look bad for the content creator because the content creator is not just a customer. They're also a content creator. And controversy sells.
You asked me about the business. You didn't ask me about the content.
Right. I'm asking you if it looks bad for the content creator as well.
What I would say is, it's the content creator based on their perspective and what they experience. They might feel the need to share this experience that they had, and maybe not even thinking about exactly how far this would go or what it would do exactly. But it can look bad on their side as well, based on how it turns out. But also, it can just be that they are just sharing their experience that they had.
Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, Mr. Darby, including content creators. But what happens when what you're sharing is misleading and inaccurate?
Yeah, then as content creators, we should know that we do have a responsibility, because if you stop and think about it, me, for example, I won't say I'll never post a bad review, but I think about it twice because I know that review can do something. And I'm talking about a business that it's somebody's livelihood. Somebody is making money from that, feeding their children. So I am a bit iffy to post bad reviews, but I also understand why persons do share that, because there are times when businesses do the wrong, and you want others to be aware of that.
Let's bring Ruben into the conversation here. Ruben, is that a part of the problem, that there aren't clear guidelines, a lack of standards, anything goes on social media? Is that a part of the problem?
I think one of the biggest issues is that controversy sells, and to the point where you'll have people, they'll exacerbate a situation or escalate a situation for the sake of the hype and forward, when it may not necessarily, maybe they were inconvenienced, or maybe they had a bad experience, but now it's being blown out of proportion, and now there's this back and forth and up and down and side to side. And all content creators were kind of making it up as we go along. There's never really been anybody in the same sphere before. There's been actors before, there's been entertainers before, but the style in which content creators work and evolve, you just talk to your phone. You tell the phone anything. It's as simple as it sounds and as complicated as the results can be. So, maybe there should be some groundworks, but as Corey said, you have to think twice before you put out something negative, because you're harming their reputation, you're harming their ability to provide for their family. So you should at least think before you post.
But you get that many content creators are not detained by that. Given the fact that social media has weaponized a bad review, someone could eat at your restaurant, do a review in the newspaper, and if many people don't read that, well, back in the day when newspaper was king, a lot of people would read that, and that could affect business. But now, in this social media age, it has weaponized a bad review. Should content creators operate with that in mind, with a sense of responsibility?
Well, you see, it's a double-edged sword, because the whole basis of a content creator's relationship with their audience is based on their authenticity and their ability to be honest and relate to their audience. And at the same time, their audience is two things. It's their consumer and their product. Because it's the product when they go to a business which will hire them to do a review or to promote somewhere. But at the same time, they owe it to their audience to be honest and forthright with what's going on. So, yes, if you had a bad experience, it's good to highlight what could be improved in a creatively constructive critique. Constructive criticism rather than just tracing or creating drama out of your bad experience, because then it looks bad on you too. Because which other business is going to want to hire you to represent them?
Corey, let me bring you back in at this juncture. Perhaps what we're going to start seeing here, Corey, is that businesses may very well prevent people randomly from coming in and trying to create content in their establishments, and perhaps partner with content creators that they believe will be legitimate in their attempt to share genuine experiences. Is that where we might end up?
It's possible, but you don't have to record in the establishment to make a review on it. You don't have to even take a picture at the establishment. You can literally just turn on your phone and talk about it. So that, I don't think that will stop much. Because just as how persons can come with video evidence of what happened in the establishment, audio evidence or audio review of what happened can do the same amount of either damage or good.
And to you, Ruben, how do we remedy this situation going forward? Where is the middle ground in all of this?
Well, it comes with being considerate of the audience that you have, especially when you have an audience. And it goes both ways, because I understand with the restaurant wanting to protect their reputation. It's a newer restaurant. They're not as established with customers. So every experience matters, and every opinion and voice on their experience matters there. But at the same time, the content creator has to be honest and authentic to their audience. Otherwise, they won't have an audience. And their first responsibility is to their audience. So, it just comes
I don't think anyone is saying if the service was crappy that you shouldn't say it was crappy. But in this latest installment of restaurant versus content creator, the restaurant is saying that the content creator was not being accurate with the truth. So where should that balance be is the question.
Well, the greatest thing is that the audience and the people have got to see it play out on both sides. So they can make their own assessment. Is this person being dishonest? Is the restaurant being too harsh? And, the court of public opinion will decide on what happens. And will they get a fair judgment? Probably not. But, I'm glad that at least both sides of the story got to express their opinions, and we can judge, based on that.
Has social media, Corey, put to the sword, or at least amplified, I should say, this notion that no publicity is bad publicity? Apparently, the restaurant owners in this instance are leaning into that by saying, look, there's this bad review out there. We're going to lean into it by saying this is really what transpired. Is it amplifying that social media? Is it amplifying that notion that no publicity is bad publicity?
That's a possibility, because you can take a bad situation and spin it. You might have some person that write you off, but you might get a good amount of person that's now on your side, because they see that, okay, so you were right. All right, let's stick with you. All right. What I have to say as well is that I believe that there is an issue with customer service in Jamaica, and I hope that this what's happening now can put customer service providers on edge per se, so that they can, act a little bit better. Not saying that is what happened with this example,
Right.
but I hope that this does that.
You've raised an important point, which I want to get Ruben on before we have to close. This whole business of customer service. But when you're economical with the truth, you don't help that cause, do you?
No, not at all. And, especially when your whole thing is being truthful and honest, so people can make a fair assessment based on your experience. When it comes out that doesn't add up, well, then everything that you said is written off, especially when there are coherent points to your argument. Now, I really like what he said, where it puts the restaurants on edge, because one bad review, one bad meme, one bad joke, and that's it. But it goes the same way for the content creator, because it's going to be really tough to get the audience back on your side when, you fuddle like this. It really...
Customer service.
The comment section will beat you.
Customer service is on life support. It's been that way for a long time. Any hope that will be turned around?
We have this idea in Jamaica that if the server is rude to you, the food is good. Or if you go there and them tell you, them face you, or enough people in the line, and you
if the server is rude, the food is good.
You think the food is, and that's not the case. You're supposed to enjoy yourself. You're supposed to have a good experience when you get food. And there's a lot of places where cough, you could do a lot better.
Yeah.
But they have such a strong legacy that. I don't know if one influencer can tumble it, but we'll see.
We're out of time. But is that your experience, Corey? If the server is rude, the food is good?
Sometimes, but I want a good service as well.
Absolutely. We have to leave it there. Social media influencer and radio host Ruben Hussey and content creator Corey Darby. Thanks to both of you for joining us in this segment. This is Lead Story. I'm Tyrone Reed. We take a break and we'll be right back with our closing segment.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Popeyes have this new barbecue chicken sandwich there. Crispy barbecue chicken breast fillet, crunchy pickles, and Popeyes signature sauce. And the buns, buttery brioche. Oh my god, water.
It's new Popeyes chicken sandwich for barbecue. Well, delicious barbecue right through. It's finally here. Popeyes barbecue chicken sandwich available everywhere. Popeyes has the new barbecue chicken sandwich.
Barbecue with a hot attitude.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
What is love? Love is when my uncle gave me the money to help start my shop. My auntie and I made our famous recipe even more delicious. And it starts with the best dressed chicken and a little extra love. No, my shop is famous to the people that matter the most to me, my community. So I only serve the best dressed chicken. Raised without antibiotics, it's only the best for my customers. If anyone's going to add something to my best dressed chicken, it's going to be me. Only the best can be called the best dressed chicken.
Everybody want to see a country right now.
One thing about Jamaicans, we might have differences, but we know when something is good for all of us. And when we work together against crime and violence, we are stronger than ever. And that's how we know the Citizen Security Plan can work.
That one that name CSP.
The Citizen Security Plan is an initiative of the Ministry of National Security in partnership government effort to create safer streets and build stronger communities. Go to mns.gov.jm to learn how you can play your part.
Welcome back to Lead Story, Global Lead. Now, to Global Current, the three international stories Jamaicans, should be watching tonight. In our first story, U.S. President Donald Trump says Washington is in the final stages of negotiating an agreement with Iran and believes a deal could be signed within days. President Trump told reporters that the accord would prevent Iran from obtaining nuclear weapons and lead to the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz immediately after signing. He further argued that a negotiated settlement would be stronger than further military action, warning that additional bombing would cause significant loss of life and delay the reopening of the key shipping routes. Here's more in this report from Al Jazeera.
We hit back. They were going back and forth, and now they both agreed through me to stop. And we're in the final throes of what will be a very, very good deal. that will not allow in any way, shape, or form nuclear weapons, etc. And the Strait will open up right away. It'll open up immediately upon signing, which could be in 2 or 3 days.
Did you ask them not to hit back?
No, I said do what's right, but I want you to stop as quickly as you can, because they have to stop. It's had to do with Lebanon, and it has to stop. We want to get it finished. I don't think there are any sticking points. I think we're very close to having a very, very good, strong, powerful deal. If we go and bomb, which we can do very easily if we want, and we spend another 2 or 3 weeks bombing, they'll have nothing left whatsoever, but you won't have the Strait open for months. If we do the bombing, a lot of people are going to be killed. Who wants to do that? I don't. And we'll have a signed document that's actually stronger than doing the bombing. What has proven to be a very powerful thing is the blockade. The blockades turned out to be much stronger than bombing. And it was really a combination. It was our initial thrust and then the blockade. But, their economy is really suffering, and they're going to make a deal.
That report there from Al Jazeera. In our second story, a bear that roamed the streets of a Japanese city for 4 days, forcing mass school closures, was caught on Tuesday, June 9, capping a search involving dozens of hunters and police. Over the last few years, bear attacks have been on the rise in Japan. Last week, a bear attack in the northeastern city of Fukushima left at least 4 people injured, and authorities failed at capturing it. France 24 has the details.
After a multi-day hunt, the bear was finally tracked down to a private property in a residential neighborhood, where it was subdued with a tranquilizer gun shot by a local zookeeper.
I found some spots where I could take the shot. 3 places in total. The closest one ended up being the easiest to shoot from, so I took the shot from there.
It followed 3 days of panic in the city north of Tokyo, with schools closed amid dozens of sightings of the wild black bear. The city is now yet to decide what to do with it.
It's the first time I've ever seen anything like this, or that something like this has happened here. So I was quite surprised.
It wasn't so much scary as it just felt so unreal. So I didn't really feel any fear at first. Until it got closer, that is.
Bear attacks have spiked in Japan, including in urban areas. Last week, a bear that attacked and injured 4 people in Fukushima evaded capture. The mayor said that the animal appeared to be extremely intelligent. It had been seen turning on a tap to drink water and managed to escape the factory it had become trapped in, apparently by opening a window. The country reported a record 13 deaths in 2025, prompting the government to set up a task force this year to reduce incidents. Bears have become emboldened to seek food in urban areas thanks to the combination of a decline in hunting, an aging and declining human population in rural areas, and the effects of climate change on natural bear food.
That report there from France 24. To our third story tonight, with the 2026 FIFA World Cup set to be played across North America during these summer months, growing concerns are being raised about the impact of extreme heat on thousands of fans expected to attend the matches. New research from England's University of Portsmouth suggests supporters may face far fewer protections than the players on the field. Reuters tells us more.
Researchers at the University of Portsmouth in southern England are recreating the kind of hot, humid conditions fans could face at the 2026 World Cup, where matches will be staged across the United States, Mexico, and Canada. And while teams will be supported by medical staff, tailored training schedules, and hydration plans, that's not the case for spectators in attendance.
We're concerned about the humidity and the temperature at the World Cup in various venues like Miami.
Dr. Joe Costello is the Associate Professor in Exercise and Environmental Physiology at Portsmouth.
So heat stress is a continuum of how it can impact the human body. From heat rash, we can get heat cramps, heat syncope, where people might feel faint or dizzy, all the way up to heat exhaustion or heat stroke, which in some instances can be fatal.
Inside a heat chamber, Lecturer Tom Williams walked on a treadmill in temperatures of around 35 to 36 degrees Celsius, or 95 to 97 degrees Fahrenheit, with humidity levels designed to mimic conditions expected in venues.
So what we just measured here today was 36 degrees Celsius and 75% relative humidity. And this was giving us a figure of approximately 32 degrees Celsius on the wet bulb globe temperature. And this is a really challenging environment for humans to participate in sport, but also for the fans to be walking to the stadiums and enjoying the spectacle.
Wet bulb globe temperature, or WBGT, combines air temperature, humidity, wind speed, and radiant heat to give a more complete picture of heat stress than a standard thermometer.
The fortunate thing for lots of the players is they get out there nice and early. They spend a few weeks allowing their body to sort of adjust to the heat, whereas a lot of the fans, people like you and I who might travel to go and watch the games, we sort of get off a plane without any sort of preparation.
Last month, Reuters reported that climate scientists and the Global Players Union, FIFPro, warned that roughly a quarter of the tournament's 104 matches could be played in conditions exceeding safety limits recommended by the union. FIFA, meanwhile, has said it has carried out heat risk planning, including mandatory hydration breaks, cooling infrastructure, and enhanced medical readiness.
Further from Reuters, highlighting some of the concerns being raised about heat exposure for spectators at the 2026 FIFA World Cup, as researchers continue to examine the potential risks associated with hot and humid conditions. That's your top 3 stories this evening on Global Current. Tonight's discussion has really been about responsibility in political communication, responsibility in public service, and responsibility in the digital spaces that increasingly shape our world. Whether it is a political statement, a congressional campaign, or a viral social media post, the common thread is trust. And in an era where information moves faster than the speed of light, trust may be the most valuable currency of all. That's all we have time for on Elite Story Global.